Okay, so continuing with 1.3, looking at our applications of linear equations, we are looking at example 4. Your grandmother needs your help. She has $50,000 to invest. Part of this money is to be invested in a non-insured bonds paying $15,000 annual interest. The rest of this money is to be invested in a government-insured certificate of deposit paying 7% annual interest. She told you that she requires $6,000 per year in extra income from the combination of these investments. How much money should be placed in each investment? Okay, so we have two accounts we're looking at, or two bonds. So we have our bonds, and then we also have our certificate. Let's break it up like that. Okay. So with our bonds, we know we're looking at 15%, which we're going to change that into a decimal of 0.15. But we don't know how much money is going into the bonds portion of her investment. So we're going to say that we're investing X dollars. Okay. For our certificate, we know we're at 7%. Which if we change that into a decimal, we have 0.07. And again, we don't know how much we're going to invest, but we can't use X again. So we're going to look at how much total dollars is she investing. Her total amount is $50,000. So if she invests X dollars in the bonds, she's going to invest 50,000 minus X into the certificate. Okay. When we're looking at interest, we use the formula I equals. For here, we're going to use our P times our R. Okay. So interest, let me actually write this out, equals the principal, which is our starting amount, times the rate. And here our principal, is our investment dollars. Okay. So if we look at our first one, our bonds, we have our principal is our X times the 0.15 rate plus our certificate, our investment was the 50,000 minus X times the 0.07 rate. And now we want to go back and look, how much money did she want to earn? She wanted to earn $6,000 per year. Okay, so equals 6,000. So now we're going to just solve as normal. So we can rewrite this as 0.15x plus, so now if we distribute, we have 50,000 times 0.07, which is 3,500, minus 0.07 times x, which equals our $6,000. Okay, we're going to combine like terms. So 0.15x minus 0.07x gives us 0.08x plus the 3,500 equals 6,000. We're going to subtract the 3,500 to the other side. So we have 0.08x equals 2,500. Then divide both sides by 0.08. So x equals, we would divide 31,250. Okay, so again, we need to relate this back to our original problem. So for our bonds, that means she's investing $31,250. And for our certificate, we're going to subtract. So we need to do the 50,000 minus the 31,250 which equals $18,750. Okay. I'm going to tell you now, this is a really good question because it brings in your decimal work, changing a rate to a percent to a decimal, and really understanding the concept of solving an equation, okay, and applying it back to the original. Okay, you will see one like that in your homework, so be aware of that. Okay, and the last two, solving a formula for one of its variables. So whenever we're solving a formula for a variable, we always still want to use our same order of operations, just like we would if it's an equation. So looking at our first example, we're actually looking at our perimeter. So P equals 2L plus 2W, and we're going to solve for L. So if we want to get this 2L by itself, we want to start off with getting rid of the 2W, and we're going to do that by subtracting, since it's being added. So we have P minus 2W, we can't combine those because they're different variables, equals 2L. And then to get L by itself, since these are being multiplied, the opposite of that would be division. So we're going to divide both of these by 2. So now we're left with our length equals P minus 2W, all divided by 2. And that's your answer. Okay, and looking at B, we have A equals I plus P times R times T. So same steps, we want to get our P by itself. So we're going to move the I to the other side by subtracting it. So A minus I equals PRT. And since these are all being multiplied together, we're going to divide by RT on both sides. So P equals A minus I divided by RT. So again, the key thing with looking at rearranging formulas is figure out what operation's happening and then just do the opposite. Same thing as what we're doing when we have variables and numbers. If you have any questions, make sure you're posting them in the Q&A document or send me an email.